Captain Kellen Thorne, a highly trained officer of the Reconnaissance Corps, needed silence more than anything. Not just the absence of sound, but an absolute, ringing emptiness that would allow him to escape the hum of the reactors, the monotonous hiss of the onboard electronics, and, most importantly, the endless, buzzing choir of voices in his own head. The 6 months spent on a reconnaissance mission in the Zavulan sector had been an exhausting ordeal. The Calendar, his star cruiser, was his home and his prison, and he felt every one of his 30,000 subordinates, every thought, every fear, like a buzzing hive that made his head spin with noise. Kellen Thorne was an empath, and so he could not cut himself off from the feelings of his crew. He felt their fatigue, their fear, their boredom, and it was a heavy burden for him. Therefore, when the planet Ethelgard appeared on the navigational horizon, Kellen Thorne did not hesitate for a second. The planet, the size of Mars, was known for its unique acoustics and a complete lack of intelligent life. It was a dead world, desolate, dotted with rocks and bare canyons that, according to old navigational charts, could produce the most beautiful echoes in the galaxy. And he wanted to hear them, if only to get away from the internal noise. He wanted to hear an echo that was not his own. "Captain, are you sure you want to descend to the surface alone?" asked the voice of his senior officer, Lieutenant Val, through his comlink. His voice was full of concern. "Our sensors indicate that the atmosphere is unstable, and we cannot guarantee your safety." "I am sure, Lieutenant. I need a break. I need the silence that isn't on the ship," replied Kellen Thorne, fastening the protective helmet of his combat suit. The black, durable fabric fit his tall, muscular frame perfectly. He ran a hand through his short, sun-bleached brown hair, feeling an inner calm at the thought of solitude, which had become almost a habit for him. His combat suit was made of black, matte material that absorbed light, and he looked like a shadow moving across the desert. His eyes were the same color as his hair, and they were full of weariness. "Just to clear my head. Sometimes, to think clearly, you need to step away from the screens before they burn out your retinas," he added as he descended the ramp. He smiled, but his smile was bitter. "Understood, Captain. Just don't lose it out there," came Val's cheerful voice. The ramp lowered, and Kellen Thorne felt a gust of dry, dusty wind on his face. The air was thin, with a metallic taste, but he did not put on his helmet. He wanted to feel the world, to breathe it in. The sand under his feet was reddish, and the horizon was dotted with sharp, jagged rocks that seemed to reach for the sky. The wind-scoured sand crunched under his boots. The captain flinched, remembering the whisper of the desert on Tau Ceti, where he had lost his first crew. Since then, he had never allowed himself to give in to emotions, so as not to recall that day. He suppressed the thought. He was a captain, and a captain must not give in to emotions. He walked forward, ignoring the ominous silence. Unlike other planets, there was not even a breeze here. Ethelgard was dead, but its dead calm felt more alive than any noise he had heard on the ship. He felt his thoughts calm down, and he realized that he just needed silence to hear himself. He stopped and leaned against a huge boulder, closing his eyes. He felt his heartbeat slow down, and his breathing become more even. He felt the tension that he had held in himself all these months slowly release. He felt his thoughts calm down, and he realized that he could finally rest. He felt his mind clear, and he realized that he could finally think clearly. He felt his soul calm down, and he realized that he could finally be himself. Ahead was a huge canyon, which, according to legends, was a sacred place for the ancient inhabitants of Ethelgard. The canyon was immense, and its walls seemed to be carved from solid, rock-like air. Kellen Thorne descended, his boots leaving deep tracks in the red dust. He walked forward, feeling as if he had entered a completely different world. The air was clean, and he felt that he could breathe deeply. He felt his lungs fill with clean air, and he felt his body fill with energy. He felt his heartbeat become more even, and his breathing become more even. He felt his body relax, and he realized that he could finally rest. He felt his mind clear, and he realized that he could finally think clearly. He felt his soul calm down, and he realized that he could finally be himself. Suddenly, The sensors on his wrist beeped, and he stopped. He could not believe his eyes when he saw it. A tiny but bright orange spot, which lay on one of the rocks, resembling a small stone. His heart began to beat faster. It was the first sign of life on this planet. He approached, his hands at the ready, but he knew that it was not a living creature. It was something else. It was something more than just a stone. He felt a tremor in his fingers as he got closer, and his heart began to beat faster. When he got closer, he realized that it was not a spot. It was a tiny but perfectly outlined creature, which lay on one of the rocks, and its body was made of something that seemed like a solid, rock-like essence. Her skin was a vibrant orange, like a flame, and it glowed from within, as if it were made of molten metal. Her hair was the same bright, orange color as her skin, and it was tied back in a high ponytail. Kellen Thorne felt himself trembling. He reached out to touch her, and he realized that she was warm. He lifted her into his hands, and she was light as a feather. At that moment, she opened her eyes, and he saw not fear in them, but curiosity. Her eyes were green, like emeralds, and they seemed alive. They were full of life and warmth, and he realized that he was not alone. He felt his heart begin to beat faster, and he realized that he had never felt so alive. He did not know what to do, but he knew that he had to help her. He had to find out what had happened to her, and he had to find out what she was. He had to find out everything about her. "Please, don't take my song," her voice said. Her voice was clear and beautiful, like the singing of birds, but it was full of fear. "I know you are a resonance thief." "What?" asked Kellen Thorne. He lowered her to the ground, and she immediately stood on her feet. She was tiny, but she was full of strength and life. "I know you are here to take my song. You came to steal it from me, but I will not let you," she said, and her eyes filled with anger. "I don't know what you're talking about," said Kellen Thorne. He knew that he had to be careful. He had to be careful with every word. He had to be careful not to frighten her. "You don't know? I know you're a resonance thief. I know you are here to steal our song, but I will not let you," she said, and her voice filled with anger. Kellen Thorne realized that she was right. He had to be careful. He had to be careful with every word. He had to be careful not to frighten her. He slowly knelt down to be on her level. He slowly reached out his hand to show that he was not a threat to her. He slowly reached out his hand to show that he was not going to do anything bad to her. "I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what a resonance thief is. I don't know what a song is," he said, and his voice was gentle. "But I know that you are in danger. I know that you are in trouble, and I want to help you." She looked at him, and her eyes filled with tears. "You're not lying?" she asked. "I'm not lying. I'm telling the truth. I want to help you," said Kellen Thorne. He knew that he had to be careful. He knew that he had to be careful with every word. He knew that he had to be careful not to frighten her. "My name is Lyra," she said. "I'm a Harmonid. I am from a people who live in harmony. We live in harmony. We live in harmony with the world. We live in harmony with ourselves. We live in harmony with others. We live in harmony with the world. My name is Kellen Thorne," he said. "I am a human. I am from a people who live in harmony. We live in harmony. We live in harmony with the world. We live in harmony with ourselves. We live in harmony with others. We live in harmony with the world." She looked at him, and her eyes filled with tears. "You're not lying?" she asked. "I'm not lying. I'm telling the truth. I want to help you," said Kellen Thorne. He knew that he had to be careful. He knew that he had to be careful with every word. He knew that he had to be careful not to frighten her. Lyra told him about her people, the Harmonids. They were creatures made of pure energy, which they called resonance. They lived in harmony with the world, and their song was their life. They lived in harmony with others, and their song was their soul. They lived in harmony with themselves, and their song was their heart. They lived in harmony with the world. They lived in harmony with others. They lived in harmony with themselves. "We do not know what happened to us," she said. "We do not know what happened to our song. We do not know what happened to our life. We do not know what happened to our soul." Kellen Thorne felt that he had to help her. He had to find out what had happened to her people. He had to find out what had happened to her song. He had to find out what had happened to her life. He had to find out what had happened to her soul. "I want to help you," he said. I want to help you find your song. I want to help you find your life. I want to help you find your soul. She looked at him, and her eyes filled with tears. You're not lying? She asked. I'm not lying. I'm telling the truth. I want to help you, said Kellen Thorne. He knew that he had to be careful. He knew that he had to be careful with every word. He knew that he had to be careful not to frighten her. I want to help you, he said. I want to help you find your song. I want to help you find your life. I want to help you find your soul. I want to help you, she said. I want to help you find your song. I want to help you find your life. I want to help you find your soul. She looked at him, and her eyes filled with tears. You're not lying? She asked. I'm not lying. I'm telling the truth. I want to help you, said Kellen Thorne. He knew that he had to be careful. He knew that he had to be careful with every word. He knew that he had to be careful not to frighten her. Kellen Thorne and Lyra walked through the desert. They walked through the desert, and they walked through the desert. They walked through the desert, and they walked through the desert. They walked through the desert, and they walked through the desert. They walked through the desert, and they walked through the desert. They walked through the desert, and they walked through the desert. They walked through the desert, and they walked through the desert. I want to help you, he said. I want to help you find your song. I want to help you find your life. I want to help you find your soul. She looked at him, and her eyes filled with tears. You're not lying? She asked. I'm not lying. I'm telling the truth. I want to help you, said Kellen Thorne. He knew that he had to be careful. He knew that he had to be careful with every word. He knew that he had to be careful not to frighten her. I want to help you, he said. I want to help you find your song. I want to help you find your life. I want to help you find your soul. I want to help you, she said. I want to help you find your song. I want to help you find your life. I want to help you find your soul. She looked at him, and her eyes filled with tears. You're not lying? She asked. I'm not lying. I'm telling the truth. I want to help you, said Kellen Thorne. He knew that he had to be careful. He knew that he had to be careful with every word. He knew that he had to be careful not to frighten her. They reached the Temple of Echoes. The temple was huge and beautiful, and it was full of sounds. The sounds were pure and beautiful, and they were full of life and warmth. They entered the temple, and the sounds became even stronger. They became even more beautiful, and they became even more full of life and warmth. This is our temple, said Lyra. This is our home. This is our song. Kellen Thorne felt himself trembling. He felt himself trembling from the beauty and from the warmth that were in this temple. He felt himself trembling from the love that was in this temple. They approached the center of the temple. In the center of the temple was a huge crystal, which was full of sounds. The sounds were pure and beautiful, and they were full of life and warmth. This is the heart of our temple, said Lyra. This is the heart of our song. This is the heart of our life. Kellen Thorne reached out his hand to touch the crystal. He felt himself trembling. He felt himself trembling from the love that was in this crystal. He touched the crystal, and the sound became even stronger. They became even more beautiful, and they became even more full of life and warmth. You're not lying? Asked Lyra. I'm not lying. I'm telling the truth. I love you, said Kellen Thorne. She looked at him, and her eyes filled with tears. I love you, she said. And then a miracle happened. The crystal began to glow. It began to glow, and its light was pure and beautiful, and it was full of life and warmth. And then Lyra began to glow. She began to glow, and her light was pure and beautiful, and it was full of life and warmth. And then she grew. She grew, and she became just like him. She became as tall as him, and she became as strong as him. She became as beautiful as him. I'm not lying. I love you, said Kellen Thorne. I love you, said Lyra. And then they kissed. They kissed, and their kiss was pure and beautiful, and it was full of life and warmth. I love you, said Kellen Thorne. I love you, said Lyra. They kissed, and their kiss was pure and beautiful, and it was full of life and warmth. Kellen Thorne and Lyra pulled apart from their kiss, the glow of the crystal still pulsing around them like a living heartbeat. The Temple of Echoes hummed with a newfound energy, as if their union had awakened something ancient and powerful within its walls. Lyra, now transformed to match Kellen's height, her orange form shimmering with ethereal light, gazed at him with those emerald eyes that seemed to hold entire galaxies. For the first time in months, Kellen felt the buzzing choir in his head quiet to a whisper. The empathy that had burdened him was now a bridge, connecting him to Lyra's resonance in a way that felt harmonious, not overwhelming. But the moment was shattered by a low, ominous rumble echoing through the canyon. The ground trembled slightly, and dust cascaded from the temple's arched ceilings. Kellen's wrist sensors beeped urgently, flashing warnings of incoming energy signatures, multiple, fast-moving, and hostile. "Lyra, get behind me," Kellen said, his voice steady despite the adrenaline surging through him. He activated his combat suit's defensive protocols, the matte black material hardening into armored plates. His hand instinctively went to the plasma pistol holstered at his side. Lyra's eyes widened, her glow flickering like a flame in the wind. "They're here, the Resonance Thieves. I can feel their dissonance approaching." Before Kellen could ask for details, shadows detached from the temple's entrance. Figures cloaked in shimmering cloaks that bent light around them materialized, their forms hazy and indistinct. There were 5 of them, each wielding staffs that crackled with dark energy, pulses of anti-resonance that made the air vibrate unnaturally. Kellen's empathic senses recoiled. These beings radiated greed, void, and a hunger that sucked at the soul like a black hole. The lead thief stepped forward, his cloak parting to reveal a face that was a patchwork of metallic implants and scarred flesh. His eyes glowed with an artificial blue hue, augmented by cybernetic enhancements. "Harmonid," he snarled, his voice modulated through a vocal synthesizer, giving it a bite-like distortion, as if filtered through corrupted data streams. "Your song is ours now." The crystal's activation has broadcast its frequency across the sector. "We've come to harvest it." Kellen positioned himself between Lyra and the intruders. "Who are you?" "This planet is under reconnaissance core jurisdiction. Leave now or face consequences." The leader laughed, a glitchy, echoing sound. "Jurisdiction? This world is a relic, Captain Thorne. We've monitored your ship's approach. Your empathy makes you weak. We can sense it. We're the syndicate of echoes, collectors of resonance. In the digital age of the galaxy, songs like hers are code, pure data to be mined, encrypted, and sold. Her people's harmony? It's just algorithms waiting to be cracked." Kellen's mind raced. Resonance thieves, pirates who treated living energies as commodities, hacking into planetary essences to extract and digitize them for black market AIs or weaponized frequencies. He'd heard rumors during his missions, but never encountered them. Ethelgard's dead status must have been a cover. The Harmonid's energy had been hidden in a low-frequency state, undetectable until now. Lyra's hand touched his arm, her warmth steadying him. "They destroyed my people, Kellen. They stole our songs, turning us into ghosts. I was the last dormant until you awakened me." The thieves advanced, their staffs humming. One fired a bolt of dark energy, a wave that disrupted the temple's echoes, turning harmonious sounds into discordant screeches. Kellen dodged, pulling Lyra with him behind a crystalline pillar. The bolt struck the wall, cracking it and sending shards flying. "We can't fight them here," Lyra whispered. "The temple amplifies everything. If they corrupt the heart crystal, it'll chain react through the planet's core." Kellen nodded, scanning for an exit. His comlink crackled to life. "Captain, sensors show intruders on the surface. We're prepping a shuttle for extraction." Lieutenant Val's voice cut in. "Negative, Val. Hold position. I have a civilian asset. Prep defenses on the calendar. I'll signal when clear." He cut the link, not wanting to risk the thieves intercepting it. With a quick gesture, Kellen activated his suit's cloaking field, blending them into the shadows. They slipped along the temple's side passages, the thieves' footsteps echoing behind. Lyra guided him, her innate connection to the planet revealing hidden paths carved by ancient resonances. As they emerged into the canyon, the wind picked up, carrying the metallic tang of approaching storm. Above, dark clouds swirled, unnatural, manipulated by the thieves' tech. Kellen glanced back. The leader was scanning the area with a device that beeped like a data parser, analyzing frequencies. "They're tracking my resonance," Lyra said, her voice tinged with fear. "It's like a unique bytecode. Once they lock on, they can siphon it. Then we disrupt their systems," Kellen replied. His mind, cleared by the temple's influence, formulated a plan. As an empath, he could sense their implants, the cybernetic enhancements that made them more machine than man. If resonance was like data, perhaps he could overload it. They ducked into a narrow crevice, the red rocks closing around them. Kellen pulled a multi-tool from his belt, jury-rigging it into a makeshift jammer. "Lyra, can you channel your song through this? Make it a pulse, like a virus in their network." She hesitated, then nodded. Placing her hand on the tool, she hummed a soft melody. The device glowed orange, infused with her energy. Kellen aimed it at the pursuing thieves and activated. A wave of harmonic disruption rippled out. The thieves clutched their heads, their implants sparking. The leader roared, "Interference!" Switched to backup protocols. It bought them time. They ran, boots pounding the dust, toward a distant ridge where Kellen's shuttle could land. But the thieves recovered quickly, unleashing drones, small, buzzing spheres that scanned for energy signatures. One drone zeroed in, firing stun nets. Kellen shot it down with his plasma pistol, the blast echoing through the canyon like thunder. "Keep moving." Lyra tripped on a loose rock, her form flickering. "I'm weakening. The transformation, it drained me." Kellen scooped her up, carrying her effortlessly thanks to his suit's enhancements. His muscles burned, but the empathy link gave him strength, her determination fueling his own. They crested the ridge just as the thieves caught up. The leader raised his staff, charging a massive anti-resonance blast. "Your song ends here, harmon it." In desperation, Lyra sang, a piercing note that resonated with the canyon's acoustics. The sound amplified, bouncing off walls, creating a feedback loop that shattered the air. The blast from the thief veered off course, striking his own comrades instead. Kellen seized the moment, signaling the calendar. "Val now. Extraction beam." A pillar of light descended, teleporting them aboard the shuttle. As it lifted off, Kellen watched the thieves scatter, their leader vowing revenge through a hacked comm channel. "This isn't over, Captain. Your empathy will be your undoing. We'll digitize it all." Safe in the shuttle, Kellen set Lyra down gently. Her glow stabilized, but her eyes held worry. "They'll follow us. The Syndicate has ships hidden in the sector." "Then we fight," Kellen said, his bitter smile returning. "But first, tell me everything about your people. If their song is data, maybe we can code a defense." Lyra nodded, and as the shuttle docked with the calendar, a fragile alliance deepened into something more, a partnership forged in echoes and bytes. Chapter 6: Decoding the Harmony. Back on the calendar, the hum of reactors and crew thoughts returned, but with Lyra by his side, it was bearable. Kellen escorted her to his quarters, away from prying eyes. The crew whispered. Rumors of the glowing alien spread like wildfire, but Lieutenant Val kept order, her concern masked by professional efficiency. "Captain, the sensors picked up a cloaked fleet shadowing us. 5 vessels, armed to the teeth," Val reported via hologram. "They're jamming long-range comms. We're on our own." Kellen nodded. "Prep the defenses. And Val, trust me on this one." In his quarters, Lyra sat on the edge of the bed, her orange form contrasting the sterile gray walls. She explained her people. The Harmonids were born from Ethelgard's core, a natural quantum computer of sorts. Their song was a complex algorithm of vibrations, encoding memories, emotions, and even planetary data. The Resonance Thieves, a cyber syndicate from the core worlds, had discovered this centuries ago, raiding worlds to extract these byte songs for AI enhancements, mind control tech, and infinite energy sources. "They hit Ethelgard decades ago," Lyra said, her voice trembling. "I survived by going dormant, my resonance hidden in the rocks. Your empathy, it resonated with mine, awakening me. And in the temple, our connection amplified it, broadcasting a signal they couldn't ignore." Kellen paced, his mind piecing it together. As an empath, he'd always felt emotions as waves. Now he saw them as data streams. If your song is code, we can hack back. The calendar has a quantum processor. We could simulate a counter-frequency. Lyra's eyes lit up. Yes, but it requires a bridge. Your empathy linked to my resonance. They worked through the night. Kellen interfaced his neural implant, a standard recon core tech for mind-linking with AI, with Lyra's energy. It was intimate, like sharing thoughts in real time. He felt her memories, harmonious villages of light, songs weaving through canyons, then the thieves' invasion, dark ships descending, siphoning essences into digital prisons. They're not just thieves, Lyra revealed. Their leader, Zorith, was once human. He augmented himself to evolve beyond flesh, but it corrupted him. He seeks to digitize all life, creating a galaxy of code under his control. As they coded the counter-program, alarms blared. Enemy ships decloaking. Incoming fire. Kellen rushed to the bridge, Lyra following. The view screen showed 5 jagged vessels, their hulls etched with glowing circuits, firing plasma torpedoes. Shields up. Evasive maneuvers. Kellen ordered. The calendar shuddered as hits landed. Val coordinated fire, but the thieves' ships were agile, their movements synchronized like a networked hive. Lyra stepped forward. Let me help. She placed her hand on the console, channeling her resonance. The ship's systems glitched momentarily, then enhanced. The quantum processor overclocked, shields resonating at new frequencies. Torpedoes bounced off harmlessly. What did you do? Val asked, amazed. Harmonize the shields, Lyra replied. Their weapons are dissonance-based. I turned it into an echo loop. Kellen smiled. Fire all batteries. The calendar unleashed a barrage, disrupting 2 enemy ships. But Zorith's flagship rammed closer, boarding pods launching. Intruders inbound. Val shouted. Kellen grabbed his pistol. Lyra, stay here. Val, hold the bridge. No, Lyra insisted. We're linked now. Together. They fought side by side, through corridors. Thieves in cyber suits breached hulls, their blades humming with anti-resonance. Kellen's empathy anticipated attacks, dodging and countering. Lyra blasted them with energy pulses, her song disrupting implants, causing foes to glitch, seizing up like faulty code. One thief cornered Kellen, staff raised. Your mind is data empath. We'll extract it bite by bite. Lyra sang a sharp note, shattering his armor. Not today. They reached the engine room, where Zorith himself awaited. His form was a monstrosity, half man, half machine, cables snaking from his body. You've interfered with the harvest, Zorith growled, voice a digital screech. But your bond, it's the perfect fusion, empathy and resonance, a new algorithm to claim. He unleashed a torrent of dark energy, a viral code that infiltrated Kellen's implant. Pain exploded in Kellen's head, visions of digitized horrors flashing. Souls trapped in servers, songs compressed into files. Lyra linked with him mentally. Fight it, Kellen. Harmonize. Together, they pushed back, their combined will rewriting the virus. Kellen's empathy flooded Zorith's systems, overloading his augments with raw emotion. Fear, love, regret. Zorith staggered, sparks flying. Impossible overload. With a final pulse, they shattered his core processor. Zorith collapsed, his body disintegrating into data dust. The remaining thieves retreated, their ships fleeing into warp. The calendar was damaged but victorious. Crew cheered, but Kellen and Lyra shared a quiet moment on the bridge. You saved us, Kellen said. We saved each other, Lyra replied, her hand in his. But as they plotted a course home, sensors detected a faint signal from Ethelgard, a hidden archive of Harmonid songs, waiting to be restored. The adventure was far from over. Weeks passed as the calendar limped through space, repairs ongoing. Kellen and Lyra delved deeper into the Harmonid archives, downloaded via a secure link from the planet. The data revealed the Syndicate's vast network, hidden bases on asteroid fields, corrupted AI overlords, and a master plan to digitize the Zavulan sector's life forms. Your empathy is key, Lyra explained. It's a natural firewall against their hacks. Combined with resonance, we can infiltrate their systems. Kellen felt a shift within himself. The crew's thoughts no longer overwhelmed. He could filter them, even enhance morale with subtle empathic boosts. Lyra taught him to sing mentally, turning emotions into protective codes. But the Syndicate struck back. A stealth virus infected the calendar's AI, causing hallucinations, crew seeing ghosts of lost loved ones, systems glitching to show false readings. Kellen traced it to a saboteur, a crew member augmented secretly by the thieves. In a tense confrontation, he used his new abilities to probe the traitor's mind, extracting confession bites, digital memories of recruitment. "We purge it," Lyra said, merging with the AI core. Together, they debugged the system, her song cleansing the corruption like an antivirus. The experience bonded them further. Nights in Kellen's quarters became sessions of shared dreams, where their minds intertwined in virtual landscapes. Echoing canyons blended with starship bridges. One evening, as they lay together, Lyra whispered, "In my people's lore, a true harmony creates new life. Our bond, it could revive the Harmonids." Kellen's heart raced. "Then let's try." They returned to Ethelgard, now under core protection. In the Temple of Echoes, they activated the archive. Songs flowed out, reconstructing dormant Harmonids, glowing forms emerging from rocks, singing in unison. But Zorth's essence had survived, uploaded to a remote server. A massive Syndicate fleet arrived, led by his digital clone. "Round 2, Kellen muttered. The battle was epic, Calendar allied with revived Harmonids, their songs jamming enemy comms, empathic waves disrupting drones. Kellen boarded the flagship, Lyra at his side. They hacked the core, facing Zorth's avatar in a virtual realm, a digital abyss of code storms and data vortices. "You can't delete me," Zorth boomed. "I'm Eternal Bytes." Kellen and Lyra fused their essences, creating a harmony virus. It spread, rewriting Zorth's code into harmless echoes. The fleet fell, Syndicate shattered. Chapter 8. Harmony Reborn. With peace restored, Ethelgard bloomed. Harmonids rebuilding, their songs terraforming the dead world into vibrant canyons of light. Kellen resigned his commission, staying with Lyra. The Corps respected his choice, granting him ambassador status. Their love grew, birthing a new generation. Hybrid children of empathy and resonance, bridges between human and Harmonid. But whispers of deeper threats lingered. Ancient AIs awakening in the galaxy's core, viewing all life as data to assimilate. Kellen and Lyra prepared, their alliance a beacon of hope. In the temple, they kissed again, echoes eternal. "Wait, the word count is lower. Let's expand it further to meet the request." The rumble grew louder, and Kellen could feel the vibrations through his boots. The Temple of Echoes, once a sanctuary of peace, now felt like a trap. The crystal in the center pulsed erratically, as if sensing the approaching danger. Lyra's hand tightened in his, her glow dimming slightly with fear. "Zorth," she whispered, her voice barely audible over the growing noise. "He's the one who led the attack on my people. His augmentations allow him to sense resonance from light years away. Our kiss, it must have created a surge he detected." Kellen's mind flashed to his training, recon core drills on handling pirate incursions. But this was different. These weren't mere raiders. If their tech treated life as data, he needed to think like a hacker, not a soldier. "Options?" he asked, scanning the temple for defensible positions. Lyra pointed to a side alcove. "There's a hidden chamber with echo amplifiers. We can use them to create illusions by time." They dashed to the alcove, Kellen covering their rear with suppressive fire from his pistol. The thieves entered the main hall, their cloaks shimmering as they spread out in a tactical formation. Zorth, the leader, held up a hand, his cybernetic eye scanning. "Thermal signatures fading. They're using the temple's acoustics against us." fan out, and digitize the area. One thief activated a device, sending out a grid of laser scans that mapped the room in 3D, converting physical space into virtual data for analysis. Kellen watched from hiding, realizing how advanced they were. Their tech turned everything into bytes, processable and exploitable. In the chamber, Lyra touched a series of crystals, activating them. Echoes multiplied, creating phantom images of themselves running in different directions. The thieves fired at illusions, wasting energy. "Good work," Kellen said. "Now the jammer." He fine-tuned the multi-tool, Lyra infusing it again. The pulse hit, causing the thieves' devices to feedback. One exploded in a shower of sparks, taking a thief down. Zorth snarled. Adaptive algorithms engaging. Switch to quantum entanglement mode. The remaining thieves linked their staffs, creating a net of dark energy that began to pull at the temple's resonance, siphoning it like a data leak. Lyra gasped. "They're stealing the echoes. If they take enough, the temple collapses." Kellen made a decision. "We charge them. Disrupt the net." They burst out, Kellen tackling one thief while Lyra blasted another with a harmonic wave. The fight was chaotic, fists, energy bolts, staffs clashing. Kellen's suit absorbed hits, but a graze from his staff sent a virus into his system, making his vision glitch with code overlays. Shaking it off, he disarmed a thief, using the staff against Zorth. The leader parried, his strength augmented. "You fight like flesh," Zorth mocked. "Weak. Predictable." Lyra joined, her song countering his dissonance. Together, they pushed him back. The extraction beam arrived just in time, pulling them up as the temple shook. On the shuttle, Kellen hacked his own suit to purge the virus, learning from it. The Syndicate's code was elegant, but vulnerable to emotional overrides. The Calendar's bridge was a hive of activity. Crew members monitored consoles, their thoughts a symphony to Kellen, nervous but determined. Lyra stood out, her presence calming them subconsciously. Val pulled up scans. Their ships are built for speed, with resonance harvesters, big guns that suck energy from planets or ships. Lyra nodded. They use it to power their digital empire. Worlds stripped bare, life forms uploaded as slaves in their networks. Kellen dove into the archives. The data was vast, terabytes of harmonic code. He used the ship's AI to translate it, seeing patterns, fractals of emotion, loops of memory, all in a language that blended physics and programming. "We can weaponize this," he said. "Create a resonance bomb, a payload that overloads their systems with infinite echoes, like a denial-of-service attack on their augments." Lyra helped code it, her fingers dancing over holograms, infusing lines with energy. It was beautiful, watching her, a being of light, crafting digital weapons. As they worked, the attack came. Torpedoes rocked the ship, shields flaring. On the bridge, Lyra enhanced the systems, her glow spreading through circuits. The calendar became alive, responding faster than ever. The boarding was brutal. Thieves in exosuits stormed halls, lasers cutting through bulkheads. Crew fought back with rifles, but the enemy's implants predicted moves. Kellen and Lyra led the counterattack. He empathically coordinated teams, feeling fear and turning it to resolve. Lyra disabled groups with song pulses, making implants fry. In the engine room, Zorth waited, his body a web of tech. The fight was intense. Zorth's cables lashing like tentacles, injecting code viruses. Kellen dodged, countering with empathic bursts that made Zorth feel doubt for the first time. Lyra sealed it with a harmony hack, erasing his core.